All right. Well, I'm going to share my screen because I have a whole presentation for you. And here's the ironic thing. I'm not even going to be talking about reverse mortgages today. Um, I'm going to be talking about uh, finding a niche within your business. And because it's just so critical. Um, so again, my name is Matt Allen. I am a reversed mortgage specialist. I'm in Southern Oregon. I'm licensed in Washington, Oregon, California, and Nevada. And reverse mortgages are all I do. It's a very, very specialized product niche within the industry. And, but I'm going to be talking about finding a niche because, again, it's really, really critical for a lot of people to find success in their business. So I'm going to give you a little bit about my backstory. And as you're going to probably think in the beginning, like, why am I even listening to this guy? But I promise you it gets way better. So my story, there's my AI generated a picture of my younger self. And I, I'm trying to move this here. Hold on one second. Uh, I fell into the mortgage business in 2001, and I graduated from college in 1997. And I averaged a new job every 6 months for that 4 year period, which is insane. But I just couldn't figure out where I fit in the job world, in the career world. And I didn't like corporate. I didn't like having an hourly or salary. And when I discovered the mortgage business, I'm like, this is awesome. I'm in control of my own destiny. It's 100% commission. If I work a lot, I'll make a lot. If I don't work very hard, I won't make very much money, but I'm in control of my own destiny, right? So I fell into the business in '01, and I was probably an average to below average producer. I wasn't really anything exciting, nothing to write home about. I was just an average reverse or regular mortgage loan officer. Then in 2008, the real estate bubble happened. I'm sure you all remember that fondly. And a short 2 years after that, I was bankrupt and foreclosed on, and not a highlight of my life. It's pretty embarrassing to even have to admit that, but I'm sharing this with you all because it's really important to see where I'm at today and the things that I've changed in my business and my career to get to where I'm at now. So again, I promise you that this gets way better. Okay. So at this point, you're probably thinking, why am I even listening to this guy? But I promise you it gets way better. So why did I fail? I failed in business because I did every type of loan that I could possibly do, right? I did regular mortgages, I did FHA, VA, USDA, I did hard money, subprime, Alt-A, second mortgages, home equity loans, first-time home buyers, construction. I did everything, right? And I was a jack of all trades and master of none. And the big question that I always had is I wondered whether or not I was actually giving the right advice, putting my clients into the right loans. I like to think that I was, but who knows? But again, I had mastery over none of these products, and I was chasing shiny objects. And I'm sure you're all in these networking groups because you're entrepreneurial, and chasing shiny objects is typically what entrepreneurs do, right? And for me, there was two of them. One was new products that would come out to the market. So new mortgage products, I'd get all jacked up and excited about this new product that I could go out and talk about and market and promote. And then I'd get bored with it and just in time for another product to come out, and so on and so on and so on. The other shiny object that I was chasing was marketing and sales courses, right? So there's all these courses out there, and I buy these courses and I'd go through them and I'd get all excited and I'd implement them and find out that they worked. And then I'd get bored and I'd buy the next one and the next one and the next one. And there was really nothing to differentiate me from any of my competitors. Nothing. I was a mortgage broker, just like every other mortgage broker. I had all the same products. And because nothing there was there to differentiate me, it was always based off of price, right? As consumers, your first question to a loan officer is, what is your rate and fees? That's the first question everybody always asks when they call in. And I didn't have anything other than to say, well, this is my rate and these are my fees, right? There's nothing to differentiate me. And I was not referral based, which is critical. So again, having implemented these other marketing programs, created my own marketing materials. I was direct to consumer to generate leads and to make my phone ring. I did not rely on any referral partners. And so the issue is when '08 happened, I lost all the products. None of my marketing worked anymore because those products were gone. I was stuck and I had no referral partners at all. And that's what ended up, why I ended up in financial demise. So, what I did not realize at the time, I had heard this statement, I just didn't understand it, which is if everyone is your customer, no one is your customer. And that is such a profound statement. And I don't think people truly understand what it is and what it means that if everyone is your customer, no one is your customer. So here's the issue. The issue is if everyone is your customer, you lack focus. Your resources, your messaging, your effort, your time, it all becomes diluted, right? Because again, you are trying to be everything to everybody and you're getting pulled in a million different directions. You have no focus on who your customers or clients are. And it's easy to get distracted. It's easy to chase those shiny objects, again, because you lack focus. You don't have a clear path to success. You have generic messaging. So again, broad generic messaging, it doesn't resonate with anyone, right? If everyone is your customer, no one is your customer. And so we can always tell when we look at marketing and advertising is their messaging on their website, on print ads, on the radio, wherever it is very, very generic. And typically what you will see, especially like in print ads, is like, for example, a mortgage person, if they're running an ad, is usually it's a picture of them, their company name, their phone number, and call me for a pre-qualification, and then a laundry list of all the products that they offer, right? So VA, FHA, USDA, Fannie, Freddie, Jumbo, whatever it is, right? All the stuff that they do, because they have no clarity around who that message is for, because they are trying to create a message that is for everyone. You're at a competitive disadvantage if everyone is your customer, because the only thing that's going to matter is price, right? If you are a generic person, like I'm an insurance agent, I'm a mortgage loan officer, I'm a real estate agent, the only thing that you're going to have is price, because you're a commodity. Nobody wants to be a commodity, but that's how a lot of people build their businesses, is around being a commodity. And you become frustrated and burned out when everyone is your customer, again, because it is so difficult to do all the things that you need to do, to talk to all the people you need to talk to spend all the money that you need to spend to be, in contact with everyone. So your resources are spent, so your time, your effort, and money for below average results. And this is why we see a lot of people spin out of industries very quickly, right? Insurance agents, financial planners, real estate agents, anything that is commission-based, you will see people come in, maybe do a flurry of business because they have friends and family, right? That's who they sell to. And then they lack that focus, that clear path of who their customer is, and they just burn out and spin out and they're out of the business. So you're attempting to be appealing universally, and it's just not the place that you want to be. So I want you to fast forward. So we already heard my sob story of, where I ended up financially, and it was not great. Again, embarrassing, but I want to fast forward from 2010 to 2015. And so in 2015, I got recruited to do just reverse mortgages. And initially, I didn't even think I was going to take that job because I'd got basically so burned by being in the mortgage industry. I was like, I will never, ever get back into that industry again. I lost everything. I'm not going to do it. But the more I talked to the guy that was recruiting me, the more I thought about it, I actually got really excited about this opportunity because all of a sudden I did have a clear path. So within probably 2 to 3 years, maybe sooner, I don't really know because there's really no way to track this. But my guess is that I was a top producing loan officer. And this is just talking to other people in the industry. They'd be like, well, how many loans do you close a month? And I would tell them, and they'd be like, oh my gosh, you're amazing. That's like top producer stuff. That's the only way I know. Okay. So very quickly, I was a top producer. And then within probably the last 4 years, maybe even 5 years, I've been in the top 2% of self-generated producers for reverse mortgages nationwide. And it could be higher than that. I would say at a minimum, top 5%. Again, there's no way for me to really compare me to myself to other people that do reverse mortgages. But looking at the people that I worked with at other companies, I was always in the top producers. 98% of my business now is referral based. So I don't do any direct. I do a little bit of direct. It's very strategic consumer direct marketing, but 98% of my business is now referral based. I've actually written 2 books about reverse mortgages now. I've been featured on TV and radio as an expert talking about reverse mortgages. I've written for both local and national publications about reverse mortgages. I now provide CE for realtors, financial planners, attorneys, CPAs, insurance agents, again, around the topic of reverse mortgages. And I just recently launched a coaching program for reverse mortgage loan officers on how to build a referral-based business. And they all this happened. I went from basically losing everything, being an average producer, trying to be everything to everyone, to having this success, all because I have a niche, right? I'm not trying to be everything to everyone. I'm not trying to do every loan that I possibly can. I only do one type of loan, reverse mortgages. That's all I do. But because I have that niche, it gave me something that I think most people that don't have a niche lack. And so a niche is so important because it gives you clarity. And with clarity comes a path to success. If you have clarity, and this is what happened to me when I realized, like, oh, I don't have to sell everything to everybody. I have this one niche product. I got a lot of clarity, right? So why is clarity so important? You know exactly who your target market is, right? It's not everyone. It is whoever you define within that niche. It gives you that clarity around who your target market is. You know what problems you solve. Again, finding that niche allows you to discover and know everything about that niche and what problems they have and how you can solve those problems with your product or service. You know the right messaging. And again, this is very, very critical. The messaging is so important if you want your marketing and advertising to work because it has to resonate with your niche market. So I'll give you a perfect example. My Instagram feeds are full of people pitching mortgage marketing products, mortgage lead generation, right? I find them somewhat intriguing because I'm in the industry, but they are for the mortgage generalist, right? The person that does everything, the mortgage broker that does all types of products. So it's somewhat is important to me, somewhat targets me. Now, on the flip side of that, there is one person that does some Instagram ads that are specifically geared towards reverse mortgage people. Guess who clicks on those ads? I do. I click on the ad, I put in my name and email, I go through their entire funnel because it speaks to me. That messaging is perfect for me because I specialize in reverse mortgages and that person is trying to target me because that's all I do. You know how to target them with marketing and advertising. So again, if you try to be everything to everyone, let's say you're an insurance agent and you're like, I want to insure everybody's house and cars, that is going to be virtually impossible for you to market to a city of any size, right? The cost to do that is ridiculously expensive. So if you pick a niche, it is very easy to create a message and get that message directly in front of the people that you want to target. So again, we are in the information age. It is very easy to buy a list of the perfect type of either business or client that you're looking to work with, to sell your products and services to. And then, of course, with social media, we can really dive down and get really specific about interests and things like that, right? You know what they need, you know what they want, you know what their problems are. And I know everything. I shouldn't know this much information, but I do about our seniors, just because I've done so much research about them. I've read all the surveys, like all the research that's been done. Like, I understand that market inside and out. I know exactly the problems that they're facing, and I know how to fix them. You know how to position and differentiate yourself against competitors. And so if you don't have a niche market, it is very difficult to position yourself and differentiate yourself other than price. And so for me, I have basically two main competitors. I've got the internal salespeople, right? That the reverse mortgage companies buy leads or they generate their own leads and they just feed them to the internal sales team. You could think of like, if you've ever seen the commercials with Tom Selleck for AAG, they offer a free information kit. That's to give leads to their salespeople. It's very easy for me to position myself against that, right? Because I'm local, I'm in your community, I specialize in this product. I'm not just some, arbitrary person on the other end of the phone. Very easy to position myself. My other competitors are my local mortgage brokers or lenders that are the generalists, right? They do everything, and they might only do one, maybe two reverse mortgages a year. I do this every day. So then the question is, look, I do this every day. I've written 2 books about it. I provide continuing education to all these other professionals. I will be here not only during, but after. If you ever have any issues, I can jump and help you on the servicing call. So it's very easy for me to position myself against my 2 main competitors. You know who can refer. This is critical. When I started thinking about, okay, I might do this reverse mortgage thing, again, I got that clarity. I was like, oh my gosh, instead of like everybody could refer to me, I knew exactly who could refer to me. I knew why they would refer to me. I knew what problems they and their clients were facing and how the reverse mortgage can solve those problems. Again, that clarity of knowing who can refer is critical. You can create an awesome elevator speech or your USP, your unique selling proposition. I can guarantee you that if you do not have a niche, your elevator speech or your USP talks about service and price. And here's the thing, neither of those things are unique because everybody says the same thing, right? We provide the best service at the most competitive prices. Okay, yeah, everybody says that. So if you have a niche, you can create a really, really cool elevator speech that gets people to go, wow, how do you do that? What is that product? What is that service? How do you get that outcome, right? You can create blue oceans of opportunity. So again, this clarity, instead of fighting in a bloody ocean full of big sharks where maybe you just get a few crumbs here or there, by having clarity and having a niche, you can create a whole blue ocean of opportunity, right? And it's a lot easier than you think it is. And we're going to be talking about finding a niche and getting that clarity around your own business. And you work less and you make a lot more money. So if you're wondering what happened between 2010 and 2015, During that time, I was doing web design and internet marketing, digital marketing for clients, local small businesses, right? And what I quickly figured out is it was a ton of work for each business to figure out, like, what does the business even do, creating content, generating brand new websites for each of them, trying to figure out how we're going to market that business online, through a variety of ways. What I quickly figured out is, like, that is painful. That is a lot of work. So I picked a niche, and my niche was fencing contractors. And so that was a lot easier, right? The content was the same. The websites were basically cookie cutter templates. I knew exactly what directories to submit their businesses to. It was all turnkey. It was very, very easy, right? So I worked a lot less and I made a lot more money. I do that now, but in 2010, when I had the digital marketing business. So what I would highly suggest is to stop being a generalist and become a specialist, right? Everybody is a generalist. Become that specialist. Find your niche. Find the people that you really like working with. And we're going to talk about that here in a second. So why do most people never specialize in their business and or their services? Primarily, it's FOMO, right? Fear of missing out. If I don't service everybody, if I don't sell everything to everyone, I'm going to lose money. I'm going to lose market share. I'm going to lose business. I'm going to lose referral partners. There's a lot of things that I'm going to miss out on if I specialize. Or they have a lack of knowledge or understanding of the power of niching. And again, when I was doing everything, I was just under the assumption that my job as a mortgage broker was to sell everything to everyone. Whoever was sitting across from me at my desk, my job was to find the right mortgage product for them. That's what I thought I was supposed to do. That's what a lot of people think they're supposed to do, but you don't have to do that. You don't have to be everything to everyone. There's the perceived risk. Again, very similar to FOMO, right? If I don't do this stuff, it's risky. Like, I'm risking my family's security. I'm risking not making President's Club. I'm risking all these things if I don't sell everything to everyone, sell all my products that I have available. And that's, again, why most people don't specialize. Difficulty in identifying a niche. It can be difficult. It takes some creativity. It takes some thought. And we're going to dive into some different ways to do that. But you have to identify your niche. You're okay with the status quo. And that's okay. If you like being everything to everybody, if you like all the products that you sell, you don't really care, that's okay. There are lots of people that do that. But I have just found that it is so much easier. It is so much more lucrative. Everything is that much easier when you have a niche and you have clarity and you have focus. The fear of limiting your market reach. Yeah, that's the whole point of picking a niche, is so you can limit that market reach. So you're not having to spend a bunch of money on everyone in your marketing and advertising. You can pick that niche and get a better return on investment and really focus in on that. Lack of confidence. I get it, right? It is kind of scary to think about, like, if I'm not everything to everybody, if I'm not selling everything and everyone is my customer, I'm not going to make it. Or you don't have the confidence and the ability to really niche down your business. But that's more of a mental game. And that's something that you've got to work on yourself. But I truly believe that anybody can find a niche in their business. So I hear a lot from people when I talk about finding a niche is, I can't create a niche. It's impossible because my business is different, right? Or I sell this service, I sell this product. I can't find a niche. And so what I thought about is, like, what is one of the more generic things out there that you would think that would be difficult to create a niche in? and I came up with groceries, right? Everybody needs to eat. Grocery stores are grocery stores, right? They're all the same. Nope. There's lots of niches within the grocery business. So in Oregon, we have a chain of grocery stores. It's called Market of Choice. It's very similar to Whole Foods. High end. It's expensive. What I do like is they feature lots of local Oregon-made farms and products, and then also a lot of smaller manufacturers. But it is expensive. My wife and I like lovingly refer to it as market of privilege. All right. But that is a niche within the grocery business. Then also regionally, we have a grocery store called Winco, super, super low prices. And there's a reason why the prices are low. They've done a lot of things to cut out overhead. For example, they don't take things out of the boxes. They just cut the face of the box off and throw it on the shelf. You bag your own groceries. I mean, there's a lot of little things that they've done to be the low price leader. Trader Joe's, wife and I love Trader Joe's. They have really cool, unique stuff. They private label a lot of stuff, so you're not paying for the general name brand. I mean, you're paying for the Trader Joe's, but they private label, so it's less expensive. And oftentimes we find stuff at Trader Joe's for a lot less expensive than at other grocery stores. Then there's Grocery Outlet. They sell overruns, liquidated stock, soon to expire stuff. I don't shop there because you just never know what you're going to get. And then we have a Fred Meyer. It's very similar to Walmart's, where you have a grocery store and then consumer goods, right? Electronics, clothing, all that kind of stuff. They're really focused on middle America. I don't shop at Walmart. I shop at Fred Meyer, but I will not shop at Walmart. So that is they've targeted me as their customer. So if something as generic as groceries can create a niche, you can absolutely do it as well. So how do you choose a niche? And there's lots of different ways to do this. And so there's no right answer here, but that's part of what I'm showing you today is to make sure that you can kind of come out of this and start thinking about what is my niche? Like, where am I going to fit in on this? So first and foremost is your product or service. So generally, if you think about products, they've already been built around a specific niche. So in the mortgage industry, there are a ton of different niches that anybody in the mortgage industry could focus on and do very, very well. For me personally, it's reverse mortgages. Very specialized product. And that product in and of itself is also defined who my demographics are, right? Because you have to be 62 or older to get a reverse mortgage. So it created a niche for me. But there's also in the mortgage world, there is construction, right? That's a very specialized niche. There's rehab loans. There's all kinds of stuff that just the product in and of itself has already defined the niche for you. Then we have passion and interests. What are you passionate about? Who do you love working with? What are you interested in? So can you take a product and can you match that up with your passion and interests? Demographics, these are all the facts, right? Age, where they live, very, very simple things to define and very simple things to get when you're wanting to do marketing and advertising. And then there's psychographics, right? The political affiliations. Do they like to golf? Are they into Star Wars? All kinds of stuff, right? So if you could take a little bit of each one of these things, that's where you're going to find your niche. And it doesn't have to be all these things. Again, for me, the product itself defined that niche. So if we look at the product service niche, again, the product themselves, it's already been created for a niche market. But then there's also specialized uses within that. What problems does it solve? What problems does your product solve? And again, if you can solve the problems, look at what problems does that solves, then start looking at demographics, start looking at your passion and interest, psychographics, and you can really dive deep into a product niche. Who benefits the most from that product or service? And if you could figure that out, again, that can really help you define your niche. Can it solve other potential problems in a unique way? And that's what I love about the reverse mortgage is I can solve a lot of problems for people in retirement, a lot of problems in a very, very unique way that most people aren't even aware of in the strategic uses of a reverse mortgage in retirement. How is it used incorrectly or improperly sold? So if you are a generalist, and don't take offense to this, but you are probably improperly selling your products or services. Let me give you an example of this. So my dad owns a specific type of real estate and business, and I had introduced him to an insurance agent in a former networking group and thought it was all hunky-dory. And probably 4 or 5 years later, my dad met a guy that specialized in his type of business and type of real estate and looked at his policy and was like, oh my gosh, you've got all these huge gaps within this policy. You thought you were covered. You're lucky you didn't have a claim because it would have cost you a ton of money, right? So the original insurance agent, who was a generalist, did not get my dad the proper insurance coverage that he really needed for his specific type of business and type of real estate. Is it a product or service that your competitors don't understand, don't like selling, or don't have access to? The reverse mortgage is, again, a perfect example of this niche and this question because I get a lot of referrals from other loan officers that could do the reverse mortgage, but they don't want to. They don't want to learn the product. They don't want to take the time. It's just easier for them to refer that business to me. It's just easier. It's just like, I don't want anything to do with it. Here, Matt, go see Matt. He's awesome. Um, and they don't have access to. So again, loan officers at banks and credit unions, most in Oregon, there are no banks or credit unions that sell reverse mortgages. So it's very easy for me to go out and network with the uh, uh, referral partners that these loan officers that don't do reverse mortgages. So again, another product example, hard money, which is basically or oftentimes referred to as private money. It's mortgages for people that don't have any traditional loan source or can't qualify for any traditional loan source. So either the property doesn't qualify or the borrower doesn't qualify. Very difficult to get into this niche unless you have investors that are willing to fund these loans. DSCR, debt service coverage ratio mortgage, allows people to buy rental property without needing to prove income. Again, very specific niche, people that invest in rental properties. And then there's non-QM. Basically, non-QM is the new subprime. It is, and I know subprime is like a dirty word, but basically subprime was originally created for the self-employed because they have a hard time proving their income. And so this is geared towards self-employed people, and it has alternative ways to prove income. If I wasn't doing reverse mortgages, non-QM would be my niche. So passion niches, who do you like, enjoy, and want to work with? And an easy way to answer that question is think about a customer or a client where you thought to yourself, man, if I only had more clients or customers like this, my business would be awesome. It would be low stress. Everything would be fantastic. Well, there's your niche. Go find more of those people. What do they look like, right? So who do you like, enjoy, and want to work with? Who do you not like working with, right? We all have specific groups of people or businesses that we don't like working with, right? They're hard to work with. They're demanding. They're rude. They're mean. Like, find a niche that doesn't have those people in it. Okay. What problems do you enjoy solving? Again, everybody has experiences, passions around certain problems they could solve for people or businesses. Who can provide the most revenue? Some people might think that question, as far as finding a niche, is greedy, selfish. I don't know why. There's no reason why you can't find a niche where you make the most amount of money for the same amount of work. Who's underserved? There are a ton of underserved markets out there because nobody is specializing in it and nobody is marketing to them. Reverse mortgages are an underserved niche. Probably in a 150-mile radius, I am the only loan officer that specializes in just reverse mortgages. There are other people that do them, but there's a lot of communities where they don't have anybody local that does reverse mortgages solely as a specialty. What gets you excited? What gets you up and out of bed in the morning, right? That could be a great niche for you. Who can you have the most impact on? I love the impact that I have on my clients. I mean, it is life-changing what the reverse mortgage can do for my clients. I love it. And it gets me excited. It gets me up out of bed every morning. Who do you have affinity with? Affinity is really important. And again, I see a lot of people that will get out of an industry and into sales, whether that's real estate, mortgages, insurance, financial planning, whatever, and they totally overlook all the affinity that they have with their previous career. And so I've seen people ignore it, and it shouldn't be ignored. Those are all people that you understand, that you know the language that they speak, right? So if you were a CPA and now you're a financial planner, why are you not going back and talking to CPAs, right? You know what their problems are. You know what problems their clients face. You know the language that they use. It's very easy. It would be a lot easier for you being previously a CPA than another financial planner that was never a CPA, because he doesn't know what their life is like. He doesn't know their language. So who do you have affinity with? So passion, interest, example was VA, veterans, the Veterans Administration loan. It's a zero down home loan for veterans. A lot of states have their own VA loan programs. There are a lot of mortgage companies that only do VA loans. They're owned by veterans. Their loan officers are veterans. Their processors are veterans. Everybody in the organization is a veteran. If you are a veteran and you're thinking about getting a home loan, do you want to work with the generalist, or do you want to work with the company that is veteran owned and they specialize in VA loans? Again, that is a specific niche product. Demographic niche, again, this is very basic. You know, who's currently using my product, age, gender, education, do they rent, do they own a home? Who benefits the most from your product or service, age, profession, lifestyle stage? What are their incomes and net worth? You know, you don't have to work with middle America. There's nothing that says you can't work with mass affluent or very affluent clients. There's no rule to that. There's fewer of them, but that's a niche market. Where do they live? Do they live locally? Do they live in the city? Do they live out in the country? Are your clients national or regional? So where do they live? What's their family status? Married, unmarried, divorced, widowed, generational, boomers, right? Those are my people. Boomers are my clients. Gen X, getting pretty darn close to getting ready for reverse mortgages. Millennials, not so much, right? But your product or service could be very generational. Employment. Are they employed? Are they self-employed? Do they have specific types of careers, specific businesses, right? You can be very specific on who you want to target. Faith. So Lisa has started another networking group with NIA that is focused on Christian business owners. That is a niche. Culture, very, very important. And I'm going to give you an example of that here in a second. So the one thing I do want to say when it comes to demographics is that you want to be careful that you're not discriminating at all, ever. It's ingrained in us in the mortgage industry is you cannot discriminate at all. So don't do it. If you're in an industry that doesn't really talk about that, you do want to be very careful that you're not discriminating. So here's an awesome example of finding a niche, especially using the demographic niche. So I was listening to a mortgage podcast, which, yeah, they exist. And only mortgage people are going to listen to those, right? I mean, who else would listen to that stuff? But this guy was getting interviewed. He's a top producing loan officer nationwide. His niche is self-employed donut shop owners. Like, I'm in the industry. I would have never thought to even think about who I'm going to specialize in, who my niche is going to be, self-employed donut shop owners, right? 96% of his business comes from this demographic. 96%. Now, this is where it gets interesting. 80% of all donut shop owners are owned by Cambodians. So a lot of the Cambodians came over as refugees and started all these donut shops. So this is really a very specific niche, right? We're going after self-employed people in a very specific business. And from culture, the Cambodians and the refugees, you are getting very, very specific about who your customer is. And if you think about it from a refugee standpoint, anybody outside of the refugees, outsiders, do we really trust them? And so if you're able to get into that group like this gentleman did, your name can spread like wildfire. And most of his referral partners are also Cambodian. So a very, very specific demographic niche example. So psychographics. What are the core values? Sustainability, luxury, cost effectiveness. What are they motivated by? Solving problems, fulfilling desires, enhancing status. They want to improve something in their life. What are their lifestyle preferences? City or country living? Are they homebodies, travelers, sexual preferences? What are their interests? Hobbies, sports, entertainment? And what are their social attitudes? So social, political, environmental. And again, you could get so specialized in this stuff by picking a niche. So you could say, look, I specialize in web design, internet marketing for chiropractors that love to golf. And the reason you like to golf is because you love taking people out, golfing with them, creating a bond. It's easy to make a sale. And what a great thing to do, right? So you can get that specific. So here's the psychographic niche example. So I have a buddy of mine that was in the packaging niche. He sold his business, and he specifically sold bottles and buckets, right? He didn't sell any type of packaging, bottles and buckets to certain types of manufacturers. That's what his business was. Hardcore conservative. This guy loved politics. It's all he ever wanted to talk about. And, because he was so extreme on one side, just could not listen to an alternative view on a political situation, right? So he only worked with conservative business owners and buyers of those manufacturers because he knew that he would not get along with anybody else that was anything other than conservative, right? Because he loved politics. He wanted to talk about politics. And so he knew that if they weren't conservative, that relationship would either go nowhere, they would buy nothing from him, or eventually it would just blow up because he would say something that was offensive or did not jive politically with that other person. So he knew that about himself, but he still built a very, very successful business on the psychographic niche. Again, very niche product that he was selling, but also broke it down into the psychographics. So key questions to answer about your niche. Is there demand, right? You can start, working on, how do I find a niche? Think I have a good niche. Is there demand for what you're going to be promoting to that niche? How big is the market? Again, we talked about that when you get a niche, you do limit your market reach, right? Because you are limiting who you are trying to target. My target market is microscopic. Microscopic. There are, in my area, there's about 350,000 people live in my county, which is where most of my business comes from. There are, on average, 80 to 100 reverse mortgages done in a year. It is literally like trying to find a needle in a haystack. All right. So it is a tiny market. But because I've specialized, I know who my referral partners are. I have all this clarity, my messaging, my positioning, and everything else. I generally have between a 30 to 50% market share, which is unheard of. Can you reach them easily? This can be a problem. I will tell you, my perfect client is a homeowner, 62 or older, that has no heirs. And the reason that that's the perfect client is there's absolutely no reason in the world for them not to do the reverse mortgage. It's an easy sale, right? Like, why wouldn't why wouldn't I spend all this money? I cannot reach that particular market. There is no list that is available that has whether or not people ever had children or not. It doesn't exist. So can you reach your clients or that target market easily? Are there referral partners? More than likely, there are going to be plenty of referral partners for whatever niche that you choose. And then the big question is, can or will referral partners refer? So financial planners for me are great referral partners. However, most compliance departments tell their financial planners that they are not supposed to talk about reverse mortgages, that they can't suggest it to their clients, they can't refer them out. And there's no law that says that's not against the law. And there's the only reason they're saying that is because what they don't want happening is the new financial planners or the unscrupulous financial planners is telling their clients to get a reverse mortgage and then give them the money to invest, which, as you can imagine, it could be a horrible decision for a lot of our seniors. That's why they don't want them talking about it. So it's for the lowest rung, not for everybody, right? But they got to keep themselves compliance, and that's what it's there for. So niches make getting referrals a heck of a lot easier as well, right? Because again, once you have your niche, you have clarity, you know who makes a good referral partner. Not only do you know who makes a good referral partner, you know what problems that you can solve for that referral partner and their clients or customers. It becomes easier to get in front of referral partners. So for me, I can call real estate agents, right? Hey, this is Matt Allen. I'm with High Tech Lending or American Senior. I specialize in reverse mortgages. Oftentimes what I hear is, Matt, I already work with Joe Schmo over at XYZ Mortgage. That's where I refer all my business. I'm like, oh, that's great. Joe Schmo, I love Joe. And he actually refers all of his reverse mortgages to me. So when could we meet? Would you like to meet for coffee or lunch? Right. So it's easier for me because I can overcome a lot of objections because of of my niche. Your messaging resonates with partners, right? I don't go to a financial planner and say, look, I can help, first-time home buyers, and I can help with debt consolidation, and I can help with new construction, and I can also help your clients that have high net worth homes. I can do jumbos. No, I go to them and I say, look, I specialize in reverse mortgages. I know that you have clients that are asking you about them. It's really important that you understand what they are, how they work, where they can be used in the financial plan. When can we get together, right? I specialize in a product. It's a lot easier for that financial planner to be like, okay, reverse mortgage, you got to talk to Matt because this guy specializes in it. You need to know where you need to be networking, right? There's lots of networking opportunities for us out there all over the place. But once you have a niche, you know exactly where you should be networking. So for me, given what I do, there are two really good there's actually multiple, but I'll give you two examples of networking groups that I need to be part of. The first one is the Financial Planners Association. I am not a member because the closest one to me is about 4.5 hours north of me. And I'm not going to drive every month a 9-hour round trip to go to a networking meeting. But in my local area, I have the Estate Planning Council, and it is estate planners, or estate planning attorneys, financial planners, and CPAs. It is like the mecca of referral partners for me, right? But I had that clarity of like, these are my people. These are who are going to refer me. This is where I need to be networking. And in fact, I'm actually on the board for my local estate planning council. You know what makes you different from your competitors? Again, you're not everything to everybody. It's like, I specialize in this product. I can specialize, or I can solve these specific problems for these specific types of clients or customers that my referral partners have. They understand what you do, they understand how to refer, and they understand why they're referring. Right? If you have that niche, that specialty, it gives your referral partners a lot more clarity around why they want to refer to you. And it's easier to refer back. So for me, I have the page, I call it page 9 of the 1009. It's not part of the application. I've made it part of the application, and it's very specific questions that I want to know. Do you have a financial planner? Do you like them? Do you want to meet a new one? Do you have a trust? You don't have a trust, but you want one set up. So now I can start referring back to all of my other referral partners by asking these simple questions, again, because of my niche specialty. You become known as the expert in X. Whatever your niche is, you become known as the expert. This is the craziest thing for me, is it is not uncommon for me to get a client that calls me and says, well, I got referred to you by 3 different people, so you must be the guy that I need to talk to, right? So first they went to their bank, and then their bank referred them to me, but they didn't call. Then they went to their financial planner. The financial planner referred them to me. They didn't call. Then they talked to their CPA, and finally they called me, right? How awesome is that, that I've got 3 different people saying, you got to talk to this guy, because I'm known as the expert in my area. So I want to finish this out. Building a referral based business, it's not a one-time effort. You don't get to go out and just meet a new referral partner one time. They are not going to send you business. You need to stay in constant contact with your referral partner. So in person, email, so just create an email drip campaign, direct mail. I send out through the mail, snail mail, a actual printed newsletter to all my referral partners every month. Connect on social media, contact them, take them out to lunch, dinner, whatever. You got to build trust. You got to build a relationship. And for me and my product, and if you're on a specialized niche, it's a lot of education. And so that is the key to building a referral-based business. And also, of course, you got to stay top of mind, right? If you're not top of mind and educating and staying in front of those people, you're not going to get those referrals. So I got 3 minutes left here. If you have any questions, I will do my best to answer them for you. But I hope you all enjoyed. Thank you.
All right, y'all, feel free to unmute yourselves if you have any questions. Go ahead and chime in, or you could drop it on in the chat. And if you want to
Looks like
unmute yourself, all right, go ahead. If you'd like to unmute yourself, all you need to do is hold down the space bar.
Yeah, I guess I'll go first. Can you guys hear me okay?
Go ahead, Rick.
All right. Mr. Allen, first and foremost, congratulations and kudos to you, sir, for coming out of that financial situation where you were and where you are now. That just totally shows what you are made of and what you're capable of. So thank you for sharing that. And also thank you for sharing the presentation. Great information. So my questions is in terms of reverse mortgage. So does a reverse mortgage go through a traditional underwriting and or have the similar credit criteria for the borrowers?
Similar, yeah. There's really no difference from the process of a reverse mortgage compared to a regular mortgage. From a credit standpoint, There are no minimum credit scores required. What we're looking at is the credit history for the last 2 years. So do we make payments on time? If we were late, why were we late? Do you pay your property taxes, your homeowner's insurance? We're looking at their credit history, not their credit score.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Yep.
All right. Anybody else? Okay.
Matt, I did see somebody said that they still have FOMO and would love to know how to overcome that.
I think that the biggest thing is is just start looking at it, right? It is picking a niche. I honestly, it makes everything so much easier. You saw what happened to me being a generalist to where I'm at today, having that niche. Start thinking about your niches, and it gives you clarity. And clarity will get you excited and get you over the FOMO because you see what the opportunities are. I think that's the most critical thing is find your niche. You don't have to go out and do it right now, right? And I would also say that, like, let's take insurance, for example, right? Like if somebody's like State Farm or Farmers, they are typically required to have a certain amount of production for each type of insurance product that they sell. And so somebody would say, well, I can't niche because I have to sell all these different products. I have to meet these quotas. Well, that's not true, right? So you could look at it from the standpoint of, okay, and I'm making this up on the spot, so if it's a little rough, I'm sorry. But you could say, look, I'm with State Farm, but I specialize in working with self-employed auto shop owners, right? Because now you can sell, you can sell the homeowners and the autos to, for the individual, plus you get to do commercial insurance, plus fleet insurance, plus, so you can sell a lot of different policies to one client versus, ma and pa, where you're just going to get the house and the 2 cars. So, and you're still fulfilling all of the quota that's required by State Farm or whoever. You're still selling on the product, but you're still picking a niche. So that's what you really got to think about is like, who am I targeting? Who do I want to go after? Who do I like working with? What opportunities are there? That will help you get over the FOMO. Once you have the clarity around a niche, the FOMO will go away.
All right. And we got a question in the chat here from Pedro Torres. I'm a commercial lender. I've niched down to SBA lending, which is pretty specialized. Do you think that's enough, or should I niche down to a specific industry? And as a follow-up, I'd love a copy of the presentation. Would that be possible? To answer that, Pedro, we are going to be having a replay of this entire presentation available on networkingaction.com. So I'll make sure you get that. All right.
SBA is a niche in and of itself within the commercial world. I would say that if you really want to get, and there's so many niches within SBA, right? You got construction, you got purchase, you've got debt consolidation, lines of credit, you got all kinds of stuff in there. I would definitely niche down in that because again, SBA to everyone, it's niched, but it's still pretty broad. So I would pick definitely some niches within that and then find some good lenders for that. Yeah.
Right on. Anybody else want to chime in? Do speak now. We do have a couple minutes left if you want to participate. While we bask in the silence, I do want to encourage everyone to go ahead and check out that link for our Google form here. If you'd like to opt in to receive everyone's information who have opted to share it, go ahead and fill out this form right here. Any questions at all that we would like from Matt?
Thanks, Matt. Hey, Matt, this is Pedro again. I guess it's easier for me to talk if you can hear me okay.
Sure.
Any sites that you recommend for looking for lenders? Other than the obvious Google and LinkedIn, perhaps. I'm not sure if there's a database that you've experienced in your brokerage world that.
Oh, okay. So the the Scotsman's Guide.
Yeah.
I mean, that's, I just flipped through that the other day and I was like, man, there's all these weird little things that people will do. Yeah, I mean, you could be like, look, I specialize in self-storage units. I specialize in hotels. I specialize in apartment buildings. I specialize in restaurants. I specialize in financing franchises. There's a ton of different niches out there.
Yeah.
It's just figuring out like who who's got like finding that niche within that of like who do you want to work with, who do you enjoy working with, um, what are I would say what are easier loans to get done, um, or maybe you find you want to do the really hard stuff, right? Stuff that most SBA people would turn their nose to. Um, I don't know what that is, but because then you could become the go-to guy on that. And then the SBA stuff too. Um, well, yeah, there's just so many niches within that. I don't.
Yeah, yeah.
It's hard to say. It's really what you want to do, who you like to work with, who you think is accessible, who you think you can really get in front of easily and affordably. Who do you have what is your message going to be to them? Because if you're like, I specialize in self-storage loans, like that's a whole lot different than I'm an SBA guy, right? And I don't know if SBA even does self-storage. It probably does, but
Yeah, it does.
you just got to figure that out.
Yeah. No, I was just curious if you knew of a database other than,
Oh
I mean,
no.
yeah,
I would just start going through Scotsman's Guide, and just figuring out like where are all these little weird niches.
yeah,
Um, and that way, because I'm assuming you're brokering them, uh, or even getting referrals, but the is just finding a good handful of lenders that okay, this one they kind of all specialize in the same thing, but they've all got little variations of what they'll
sure,
do.
sure. Yeah.
Um,
Different
and again,
interpretations of the rule.
yeah, yeah. I mean, maybe it's financing gas stations. I mean, those are difficult just because of the environmental impacts and appraisals, and I don't know.
Yeah.
It's up to
Yeah.
you.
No,
It's
no, I was
what
just curious. Yeah. No,
yeah,
cool,
yeah,
man. Thank you.
yeah.
Appreciate it.
Yep, yep.
All right, Matt.
All right, Joe. All right. Do speak now or forever hold it because I'm about to wrap this bad boy.
Matt, did you put your contact information on the contact sheet?
No.
That would be good in case somebody had some other questions for you, or if you have a website to send them to, or
Well, there's if you know a reverse mortgage loan officer, you can send them to close more reverse. My personal website is American Senior Finance. Um, but yeah, I'll put my contact info here. But yeah, I hopefully it has really nothing to do with what I actually do for my career. Uh, but the impact of having this niche has been so powerful. I thought this was just a really good topic for everybody.
Really was wonderful. And I do appreciate that, Matt. And thank everyone for joining us today. Hopefully, you could mull over more about what your niche could be in your industry. I do encourage everyone to join us once again on the first, third, and fourth Wednesday of every month for our Network with the Nations, our sales mastery session, and our focus forum. This upcoming Wednesday, we do have Joe Applebaum helping us out with Salesforce automation. He's presented with us before. The dude is stellar with LinkedIn. Definitely a lot of information. It's like drinking from a water hose with that guy. So I do encourage you guys to check that out. And we will see you at the next one. Thank you so much once again. Thank you, Matt.
Thanks, everybody.